Hello and welcome on 360 on Sports Updates and Trust TV. Just a mix of there. Well, I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe. We just have to look at stories trending in the world of sport. As we give you update, really is getting more clearer. Looking at the fact that the Tigers are really edging closer to the fourth row of winning the Afro Basket. Although we've talked about that in our earlier competition show rather. Now we'll be looking at stories trending in the world of sport, starting with football. This time around, NFF, Nigerian Football Federation, Normalisation Committee for Plateau State Football Association for the fact that a lot of issues coming up there. They just have to quickly set up some Nigerians that will see into normalizing football activities in Plateau State. Let's look at the list of those Nigerians that have been marked to run the affairs of football in Plateau State. We have Yakubu Audu Baba as the chairman, Daniel Kume, vice chairman, Professor Ishaya Pam as member, Barisa Dangwazo is also a member, Abdullah Emeguru is a member, and you have the secretary, Daniel Langs. That's the secretary of that Plateau State Football Association Normalization Committee set up by the Nigerian Football Federation to see into the activities of normalizing football in that state, Plateau State there. Well, joining me in the studio is Ikena Okonkwo, the newly elected Secretary General of Sport Rights Association of Nigeria, SWAN. Good to have you.
Thank you so much, Adeniyi. It's a privilege and a pleasure as well.
Yes, we're looking at this story. We've seen it's not only Plateau State, we've seen Nasarawa, we've seen other states where they actually set up normalization committee. But this is just coming into concerning Plateau State, where this committee will also see into how the affair of football is run in that state. But pending the time, the proper election will be conducted. I think I love the fact that NFF are trying to make everything work out well. That has to do with football development in Nigeria, so that peace will reign. Get the normalization committee set up, they run the affairs, pending the time, the election comes up, and then we have a very balanced football atmosphere. Yeah,
very good. This particular NFF administration that is barely 1 year, not up to 1 year. I think by September ending stroke, early October, there will be 1 year. They have been taking some steps in the right direction. What usually spring the issue of normalization committee is when a particular one of the reasons anyway, when a particular tenure is ended and there are issues here and there, maybe occasioned by petitions, maybe occasioned by interference, or whatever internal within the state. So the NFF, as the parent body in the country, steps in to say, okay, the warring factions, the whatever issues, let there be a time to look at all of those issues. But again, because there shouldn't be vacuum in the administration, there's always there should be always a leadership.
Leadership must continue.
Yes. So the NFF, at that point will say, okay, Mr. A, B, C, D, E, take charge at the moment in about 3 months or maybe at most 6 months. Look at issues, get back to us in form of report. And then we can now, fashion out modalities or, settle the issues to now conduct the election properly. Like you said, Nasarawa is having the same thing, not just Plateau, Akwa Ibom the other time too. And I think 2 or 3 other ones like that, So it's a way to get things going. And I think with this, things will get back to normal.
Well, hopefully things will get back to normal when it comes to football in Plateau State as they set up that normalization committee by the Nigerian Football Federation. I've just rolled out the name of those who have been appointed or choosing to run the affair of football there. Hopefully everything goes well with Nigerian football. Is getting better, and that would actually take us to what is happening concerning a coach from Ghana. The current coach of Ghana football team, that is in the Black Stars of Ghana, Chris Hughton, says African football has improved. Looking at the fact that gone are those days when we go to the World Cup and you see, in fact, you can't even find one team qualifying for the next round. But right now it's getting better, both male and female. You look at what Morocco did at the World Cup last year. They really shocked the world getting to the semi-final. And we've seen what the ladies are also doing at the World Cup right now. South Africa, Nigeria, and also, who knows, maybe Morocco will also at least scale through. But right now, from the way it is, really, you agree with him that African football has improved?
Seriously, it has. I made a comment, much earlier that the other continents of the world, they are beginning to take us more serious depending. So it's no longer a time when, whenever anyone finds us in the group, they will say, this one. And of course, our players are developing. More of our players are there in Europe, both male and female, African players. And they are tapping from the knowledge. They are tapping from the experience. Even the young ones that are coming up, they are not also, thinking that they can't do anything meaningful. Look at Abiodun before she got that red card. She was almost all over the places. The Nigerian
Deborah Abiodun
defender. So it's her first time in the World Cup, and of course she was able to put up that performance before that sanction came. So, and he sees one or two other new players. Look at Pani, or what was that her name?
Tony Payne.
Then
Alozie.
Plonter.
Alozie is also there. Plonter. All of them are Chegini. They are all showing class.
New players. Coming for the first time in the World Cup. So it is it's a new dawn for African football. It's a time for African football to rise better, and of course show that they have got. I just pray that no matter what happens, the Nigeria's Super Falcons will beat England. It's not impossible. Yes, England 4th best in the world at the moment. Nigeria 40th down there.
You can turn it around.
Anything can happen in football, and if it happens, why not? The girls can go all the way, even beyond that level at the quarterfinals that we anticipate. So it's a good one.
Now, looking at the fact that we're talking about African football, that Chris Hughton, coach of Black Stars of Ghana, says it has really improved. In all facets, you look at grassroots football development in Africa, so many academies springing up with different talented young footballers. Yeah. Look at the pay of African players now. As we speak right now, if you check highest paid African players, gone are those days where you see African players getting £50,000. Now we have a player, Sadio Mane is going to be earning 600,000 in Al Nassr. We've seen what Liverpool are paying Mo Salah. We've seen what they offer Osimhen. Osimhen was offered 1 million per week by another club in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. So you can imagine Al Hilal, the same club that went for Mbappe. That shows that for them to, after Mbappe couldn't work out, they switched to Osimhen. That's okay, that's an African player. And if you look at women football development in Africa, the way Morocco, South Africa, Nigeria, Angola, all these countries, the way they've at least get developed in football, really, you agree with Chris Hughton that African football has really developed.
Yeah, very well, because you are even talking about £15,000 and all. Before, even to get an African player that will be priced up to 20 or 25
million pounds.
It's not always easy. We have always been at that 10, 15, and even less. So, but now a number of them, are up there among the most prized, not just in Africa, but in the world. Right now, Osimhen is the top.
The top strikers in the world right now,
and of course, arguably the best. The most rated player in the transfer market, for this season. And it's been a good thing, and it can only get better. The only challenge Africa has, just like in any other sector, not just football or sports, is the issue of management, is the issue of administration. If you can also get administrative aspect of the game, because all these things work together to produce the best result or the good result. If you can get this administration aspect better, get it working the way it should work. What is the administration? Being accountable. What is the administration? Showing leadership. Like I was talking about earlier, FIFA tells you this is what you will get if you get to this level of whatever in the tournament. Can our different federations in Africa tell the players, tell the national team, this is what you've got? And at the time, you do what? You hand over. If you have sponsors, partners, come clean to say, you are giving us this, you are getting that. So at the end of the day, the sponsors will be happy. In fact, more will want to come because they are getting the mileage. You are doing what you say you will do with the money, and everything will add up and work good. Because these players, most times or sometimes, one of the discouraging factors is that they are not being looked after. Their welfare is not being taken care of. It's not that we don't have the talent, but other things don't add up. That's what
other things don't add up there. From what you are saying, administration and accountability works hand in hand there. Talking about African football, Chris Hughton, Ghana Black Stars coach, saying our football really has improved compared to the past when things were not really too good for African football. Really, right now you can at least think of one African player among all the top stars in the world, both male and female. We have Astal Oshoala among the top-rated female player in the world, and you look at Osimhen, Salah, Mane, all there, up there among the top best players in the world. Also, if it comes to the financial aspect of it, they are also getting noticed. And if you look at talented players being discovered and being exported to Europe week in, week out, a lot of them from Zambia to Namibia to Nigeria to Ghana to every part of Africa. Really, African football is improving. Now, that takes us away from the topic. Let's quickly look at some stories trending in the world of transfer. A lot of clubs are buying and really buying. But right now, according to Ronaldo, he says, Cristiano Ronaldo says, Saudi Arabia will continue to drag more players to that play because they won't stop for now. That's why we're looking at this story. Al Nassr, as we speak, they are dragging with Tottenham Hotspur for Barcelona Clement Lenglet in a 15 million euros deal. They want to get him, just like Tottenham Hotspur are gunning for him. They too, they have the money, they have the mind to draw close. Al Nassr for Lenglet.
So they don't just have the money; they can match you for anything.
Look at the way they went for, the way they came for Ronaldo. Now they got Sadio Mane. I can imagine how Mane will work with Ronaldo. I still remember how he worked with Mo Salah in Liverpool. You know, he's an unselfish player. So you can imagine how he will try his best. Brozovic is there. And another player that just joined them last week. And now they are gunning for Clement.
Exactly. So you find out that a Mane seeing someone that he will get the pass and the person uses it properly. Because one of the challenges he had in Bayern Munich was that, some players he partnered with, what led to the issues that came up in the dressing room last season.
With another player,
Some players they partner with don't seem to, use the ball the way he expects and all of those, on-field issues. So it's going to be very, very nice. And Al Hilal and Al Nassr and all of those Al Ittihad, Al Shabab, all those Al teams and all. So they are out to make sure that their football gets to a level that when you talk about Saudi Arabia, you talk about teams in Europe or other leagues.
As you speak,
they are matching itself.
I saw a particular update, a transfer market, where they said right now, when it comes to transfer rating, Saudi Arabia is now 5th in the world.
Of course.
5th.
Of course.
In fact, they were not even rated before, but now they are 5th. 450 million euros have exchanged hands to Europe and to other parts of the world to bring in players. And now they are behind the likes of Premier League, German League and all that. But they are standing 5th. And very soon, if they continue this way, seriously, Saudi Pro League is turning to where even the young players want to go there.
Yeah, I'm seeing that in the future. If they will, like you said, if they continue consistent, because the Chinese league wanted to do that.
They couldn't manage it well.
Yeah, so I don't know whether the Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Pro League that they call them, they have been able to understand what made China not to succeed. Probably they plugged that hole, to make it work for them. So if they continue, and of course they need to also have a way to develop, a transition kind of strategy, or tactics that they will use this as a kind of to start, but go back, have a strong academy that produces also the stars, because I believe that these stars they are bringing. The purpose should be to kind of encourage the upcoming stars in their own league
to come.
So if they also leverage on it, that in the next 2-3 years or up to 5 years, they should be able to develop their own
indigenous players.
Push out, these same stars, the couple of stars, and then they will also have a lot to do. It will not just be being because the way they are going, if they continue, like you said, I mean. in the next 3 years, thereabouts, you will see them trying to rub shoulders with Spanish La Liga and all of those top
After all, they need to do is to know how to administer enough football style that will make it consistently very profitable. And before you know it, everybody will keep.
And they're doing in attracting players. They're also attracting coaches. Gerrard is there at the moment.
You can imagine.
And they almost got Mourinho. I don't know what happened.
They even went for Silva thereabouts, Marco Silva. They want to get him to he has been on like, I'm not coming, I'm coming. Really, Saudi Arabia Pro League is getting very interesting because they are gunning for almost all players and they want to turn things around to make that league a formidable force when it comes to football, a business in the world. Still talking about football transfer now. We talk about the same Saudi Arabia Pro League. They are going in for a Fulham player who signed just 2.5 weeks ago. He signed an extension with Fulham, talking about the Brazilian Willian, a former Chelsea player. But now, as we speak right now, Al-Shabaab of Saudi Pro League, they want to agree, at least they want him to join them. After agreeing just a year deal with Fulham, they still want to sign him to join them.
So once they meet the fee, to get him out, why not? And they have the money. And they are going for.
And Fulham knows, Willian knows, okay, if other Brazilian players, if they are there, if other bigger players like Ronaldo, Benzema, Kante can move, what else? Why not?
And he's not getting younger. He's only getting older. So he needs the money too. Get there, get the money, move on. And
don't forget Eduardo Mendy also moved. Mendy, former Chelsea goalkeeper.
So you can imagine a Mendy.
At least he's supposed to stay back in Europe and fight for that shirt and see if he can.
No, but at some point he was already losing confidence.
But I'm sure that could be clubs who could go for him.
Yeah, he probably wants to build his confidence by having more regular, having regular appearances and all of that.
But a player came out among all of them that have signed. I love this sincerity by saying, well, I need this money for my family, for my people. Ruben Neves. Neves said, well, a lot of people were shocked to see Neves going to Saudi Arabia. But he said, well, I need this money. I need it.
I need to get something out of this and then use it for some better purposes that will better the lives of his life and, of course, the life of people around him.
Talking about money, a lot of impact there coming from football environment that has to do with Saudi Arabia getting so many players down to the Pro League right now. But we've been looking at them. We talked about Al-Nassr going for Lenglet and also for Willian Al-Shabaab, really trying to go for him there. We're also talking about some transfer. Let's look at 3 more before we wrap it up. Besiktas now. We go to Turkey. Let's talk about Besiktas. They are closing in on Arsenal winger. His name is Nicolas Pepe. Pepe, we know how Arsenal actually splashed 72 million pounds on this player, but it never worked out. It was a flop move for Pepe, but now Besiktas seems to be the saving grace for him. Yeah, so
it's going to be. I don't really see him having much playing time over there, but he could actually revive himself and get on much confidence for himself as well, because last season wasn't that much good for him, and players they have a way of going back to the drawing board of their career to say, I need to do this, I need to do that, and of course it will help them the more moving forward.
Well, for Nicolas Pepe, his career really, you see some players that moved. Pepe, Eden Hazard. These are the players that move, and it's never worked out. It was a flop. I remember the Brazilian that moved also to join Chelsea, Plateau, Andre, didn't work out too. A lot of players will just move because of their performance. The big club will come for them, but the chance to also add more sparks. Remember James Rodriguez when he joined Real Madrid, and just like that, before you know it.
Well, in this case, it's not similar because Besiktas, Turkish league is not anything to compare with.
At least they are even gunning for him. If you look at Turkish football, when you talk about Galatasaray, Fenerbahce, you think of Besiktas. Those are the 3 top clubs, and for them to come for Nicolas, that shows that they still rate him high. Yes.
If he's to be at the top notch before, by the time he entered them, Arsenal, pick him, it wouldn't have been Besiktas that you would go for, or that would probably come for him. So he's. I believe that he's just going there to find a more regular playing time, and then from there he can see what he can do to revive the more even though he's not getting younger, like I said earlier.
Okay, let's run it 2 by 1. Let's talk about Inter Milan. Wants Arsenal defender Takehiro Tomiyasu. They want to go for Tomiyasu right now. Inter Milan really want the player, and they are gunning for him to get the Arsenal defender. Well, let's see. Will the Gunners allow Tomiyasu to move to the Nerazzurri's camp? Anything can happen in the world of football. And the last one that has to do with Barcelona. Barcelona in talks with Manchester City over a move for fullback Joao Cancelo. Cancelo, a former player of Bayern before moving to Man City, but right now they want to get him to Barcelona. Cancelo to Barcelona. Anything can happen also.
Yeah, possibly so, but I don't want to believe that at this moment that that man Pep want to lose a player at this standard. He's already closing on, play Community Shield, FA Community Cup there, and then see how he will kickstart the season and move. I think he's done, especially in trying to let players go. He may want to bring 1 or 2 more.
For the fact that they allow him to go to Barcelona, to Bayern on loan, coming back, he's coming back to that club. I'm sure Guardiola has seen that, no, you can't come back anymore. If you remember, he didn't live in a happy mood. It was pride that actually got him to this. He was feeling as if he's the best, or one kind of. But in football, nobody can stand alone.
Pep always have a way of humbling players. He has had issues, like similar issues with the former captain of the team, the Tourés, and all of those people. So he has a way, and I believe that his way that works for him, perhaps to continue work. Sometimes it backfires, but sometimes
it works for him. He doesn't want that player feeling that entitlement of being indispensable. Coming from Guardiola there for Cancelo, Barcelona could actually go for him. After all, he might not really want him in his books anymore. That will be it on Sports Update. We've been with Ikina Okonkwo. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for the privilege.
I'm Adeniyi Ajishafe. Thanks for watching.